Very good afternoon, gentlemen. Do we have anybody else on frequency, please? Go ahead.
Mike 0 Oscar X-Ray Fox.
Yes, copy, Clint, no problems. Mike 0 Oscar X-Ray Fox in the log. So that's 3 of us so far. And hopefully the frequency is absolutely clear when I started talking to Leslie, EI5GJB. But it appears a little bit of somebody's come up on the frequency underneath, so hopefully it doesn't cause us a problem. If it does, perhaps we have to curse why. But anyway, it seems okay at the moment. Right, do we have anybody else wanting to call into the Harwell ARS Radio Society's Wednesday afternoon Club Net? Please go ahead now.
Mike 0 Kilo Echo Papa.
Mike 0 Kilo Echo Papa, and there was another Mike station there.
Mike 0 Juliet Whiskey Charlie.
Mike 0 Juliet Whiskey Charlie. Good afternoon, Howard. Right, that's Tim and Howard joining in as well, so that's a goodly numbers. I will just advise that I will have to ask somebody else to take over the net at about 14:30 because we've taken a cancelled appointment for Anne at the JR this afternoon. It was one that's been cancelled a couple of times. From our point of view, it's been cancelled, but anyway, they've just rang up to say they've had a cancellation and can pop us in, so we've accepted that appointment, but we have to be there for 3:30, so I should disappear at 2:30. I'm quite sure one of you able gentlemen will take over the running of the net. Anyway, all signals good at the moment. Interesting to see that we now have some alternative things for our licenses. Quite see my estimate mark, so that's a bit high. Not too bad. Don't bother changing it now. Yes, so it needs reading through carefully, I suspect. At least they've highlighted the changes, which is useful. Okay, round to you, Roger. G0AOZ from G3PIA.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. G3PIA, G0AOZ with the Wednesday afternoon next. Very good afternoon to you, Dave, to Chris, to Cliff, to Tim, and to Howard. Yeah, that's all good, and I guess, Howard, you'll be able to legally run your 1 kilowatt now. Nice. Anyway, varying signal from you, Dave, 5 and 9 to 5 and 9 plus 10. So a bit of QSC on the frequency, but perfectly readable, good signal, no problems at all. We'll give the other stations their reports after their relevant overs. And if you want me to take over, Dave, I'm quite happy to do so unless somebody else would like to take the reins. More than happy to let somebody else have a go. D3PIA, G0AOZ of the group.
Yeah, G0AOZ and the group from G3PIA. Sorry, I was checking my noise floor and just writing it down at the same time, and brain didn't communicate with the mouse properly there. Okay, Roger, fine. Well, thanks if you don't mind taking over, but if, as you say, if somebody else feels like they'd have a go, then jump in, by all means. Yes, I've got about an F7 of noise this afternoon, so quite noisy bands, and they're quite active as well. A lot of people trying out new powers and so on. Right, so let's go on through and give everybody reports. Your report from me, Roger, is reciprocal, repeating about plus 10, dipping down a little bit, probably 10 dB variation on QSC. Right, round to Chris, G0JK from G3PIA. Yes, G3PIA, Golf 0 Juliet Echo Kilo in the group. Yeah, very good afternoon to everyone. Nice to be back, feeling an awful lot better, and signals are very good. You're both plus 20, that's PIA and AOZ, a very, very good plus 20, and very, very nice audio. From Golf 0 Juliet Echo Kilo. Yes, okay, Chris. G0JK from G3PIA. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better now, and that's all very good. Thanks for the plus 20 dBs. You're plus 20. Well, you peaked up to plus 25 during your rover. The signal slowly went up, and it seemed to sort of stop at about plus 25. So cracking signal from you, no problems at all. Okay, round to Clint. Good afternoon, Clint. Just all well with yourself. And 0 Oscar X-Ray Fox from G3PIA.
Golf 3, Papa India Alpha, Mike 0, Oscar X-Ray Fox. Yeah, good afternoon, Dave, Roger, Chris, Tim and Howard. Yeah, all good with me. Managed to get home about half an hour ago, but it's amazing how many emails you can pick up just from the drive from Abingdon home. Hi. Signal report so far. So there's QS Baker. Dave, you dropped down to 5 and 3 at one point, but basically most of the time you're 5-9 plus a bit. Roger's about 5 and 3 to 4 with no amplification, and Chris was peaking 5 and 9. Heard Tim and Howard call in very clearly, no problem at all. So I'll give those reports next time around. And I've put a notification on the X feed to say we're live on 7.150 megahertz. So I'll QSP any third-party reports we might get. That's about it for now. Back to you, Dave. Golf 3, Papa India Alpha from Mike 0, Oscar X-Ray Fox.
Yeah, Mike 0, Oscar X-Ray Fox from G3PIA. Okay, fine, Clint. Well, thanks very much for the report. Just 5 and 9 plus a bit. You're 5 and 9 plus 10 dBs going down to F7. So huge variation there. Quite a lot of quite deep QSP. Never going better. Well, you're getting to my noise floor, but I've never actually lost any information from you. And yes, glad you didn't have a mad rush back this morning then to make it for the net. Right, so let's go on round to Tim, M0KP from G3PIA.
Yeah, thanks Dave, M0KP returning. Well, I can hear everybody very well. Have a look what the noise floor is. It doesn't look that high actually for me, but that might be dBm, whatever that is. I can never work out what it is because it depends on bandwidth you're on, doesn't it? Anyway, you're 15 over, Dave. These are kind of tips, I don't get QSB. Clint 5 and 8, Roger 5 and 9, and Chris sort of 10 to 15 over. So yeah, band's in good shape anyway, no problem at all. Yeah, I wonder how many people are, or how many balance sales have gone up today with people trying today and sort of damaging them in their own tellers. So it's a pretty good market to be in, I think, this morning. I'm running a little bit more power myself here. It's generally about 400 or 500. I think it will peak up to about 800 watts. This setting I've got the SDR on, so taking advantage of a little bit more power anyway, a little bit more dynamic range. Back to you, Dave. G3PIA in the group from M0KP.
Yeah, M0KB from G3PIA. Okay, fine, Tim. Well, thanks for that plus 15. You're going from plus 15 to plus 20, so lovely signal from you. I seem to be giving better reports than I'm receiving at the moment, so things not quite reciprocal. We'll talk about power in a few minutes. Right, let's go on round to Howard, M0JWC from G3PIA.
G3PIA, this is Mike 0, Juliet Whiskey Charlie returning. Yeah, good afternoon everybody. Just run through the reports before we get onto the big power discussion. Dave, you're 5 and 9 plus 10, tracking signal. Roger 5 and 9 plus 5. Chris, the best I've heard him, JEK, 5 and 9 plus 10, excellent signal. Clint 5 and 9, a little bit of QSP on there, but yeah, all readable, so no problem. Tim coming in at 5 and 9 as well, so all profitable, noise levels totally acceptable, and yeah, I'll hand back to you. This is Mike 0, Juliet Whiskey Charlie, handing back to G3PIA and the group.
Yeah, Mike 0, Juliet Whiskey Charlie from G3PIA. Club station of the Harwell ARS Radio Society. Okay, fine, Howard, thanks for that. Plus 10, you're plus 20. That's interesting because my reports haven't actually changed, but I'm sort of peaking about 900 at the moment. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because it really isn't making any difference, and it isn't reciprocal at all. So that's fascinating. I thought I'd just for the hell of it then, seeing as we can do it, I'd try and screw in the power up a little bit and see what change I got from the original report from when I was running for 400. So not a vast difference. So I'm going to try tweaking the SWR. No, I don't think so. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, the match isn't very good at the moment. That's probably because the aerial's only up at about 20-25 feet at the moment. I haven't wound the mast up at all, and so hence the balance feeder that I use, the 450 ohm balance feeder, would be dragging on the ground. So I thought that with a bit of nylon fishing wire tensioned against the fixing point, so that it isn't dragging on the ground, or else it would presumably have never tuned up anyway. But all the settings are vastly different than they usually are due to the height change. Anyway, there we are. So it's not a true test because the aerial isn't as high as it normally is. Normally it would be up at least 50 feet in the middle. Okay, so not done a lot of radio here. We did the 23 STEM contest last night. It was absolutely awful. Conditions were terrible. It's the worst I've ever done. There's no question about that. People, I think, could hear us, but I couldn't hear them. And so it was very, very non-reciprocal. All my preamps had it at the last there. I'm very tempted, I think, to get it down and check to make sure that it's still working properly and up to spec. Or maybe there's some water got in there or something, but it was a disastrous evening. I think one or two others on the net. I think Jeff had a similar sort of situation where he found it, apart from getting a bit of interference from people, they also found it, the conditions were terrible. So there we are. The only other thing, I've been playing around with this Hacker Sovereign radio from the 1960s, trying to repair it. So I got the FM IF strip sorted out. So I managed to get some AF114s, and that secured the problem. I also blew one of them, so in other words, collect the base collector and the emitter together, and then apply voltage to those and the metal can of the transistor, and it burns the track that's causing the problem out. So that recovered it, but unfortunately there's a fault in the tuner, in the sort of mixer oscillator stage for the FM, and it's almost impossible to get into there. It's a complete strip down, including all the tuning mechanism, which of course is just a cord in those radios, and it goes actually through the VHF tuner, and so I've given up on it. It works long wave, medium wave, but there's no VHF, which is a bit disappointing for a friend of mine who's trying to fix it for. So there we are. Anyway, that's enough waffle for me. Let's go back up to the top and run through G0AOZ from G3PIA.
Okay, Dave, that's fine. G3PIA, G0AOZ, returning with the group. Okay. Excuse my dirty voice. All copied, Dave, and yes, I can't give you any greater signal than I gave you before. 5 at 9, 5 at 9 plus 10. So as you say, the extra power isn't making a noticeable difference, generally speaking, but that could be down to the fact your area is down a bit because of the windy conditions. Right, a few more reports. Chris, good afternoon to you, 5 and 9 of 20 to you. Clint, 5 and 7 to 5 and 8. Tim, hello there, 5 and 9 to you. And young Howard is also 5 and 9.